Hello everyone. Welcome back to We Better Drink This Before It Goes Bad, the YouTube channel dedicated to reviewing older or secondhand skate gear that you otherwise might be able to find some really good deals on, but from a big-footed older blader's perspective. My name's Blair Knight, and in this episode I'm going to be covering something that does come with buying used skate gear more often than not, and that's wheel maintenance. So for today, what do we have? What are we doing? I'm literally going to be covering or isolating this to bearing maintenance. So first thing that we're going to do is we're actually going to have to get the bearings out of the wheels. There are multiple different ways, multiple different tools that you can use to get that accomplished. I actually, after having a very frustrating run-in with Famous Wheels recently, decided that I was going to go ahead and bite the bullet and invest in a bearing press. And this wasn't too expensive. I got it from Oak City Skate Shop. And the bearings that we're going to be working with today, I actually had these. They came out of some old dirt box wheels. And the bearings themselves, you can kind of see, are in various states. So getting the shields off, getting these cleaned won't be a bad idea. Some are a little bit better than others, but you get the point. As far as cleaning solutions go and doing the rinsing, I've got this Sonic Turbo Wash container, and this is actually pretty neat. It actually has a little casing on the inside of it where after you take the lid off, it has almost like this little hammock apparatus of sorts where you literally get to dip it down into the cleaning solution, put your bearings in here, dip this in the solution, and kind of give the can a good, or the closed bottle, a good couple shakes here and there, really allowing the cleaning solution to get in between the nooks and crannies and the bearings. And the cleaner itself, it's really just your everyday citrus cleaner. Smells very orangey, and Sonic also makes replacement solution bottles that can be bought individually. And then after all said and done, we're obviously going to want to re-lubricate the bearings. I know a lot of people enjoy using, I think it's sewing machine oil. I have, for myself, some Bones Speed Cream. Not too hard to find by any means. So let's go ahead and get to it. So the bearings that I now prefer to purchase, they have kind of like that more rubberized or plastic shield on the back. You can get the bearings that come equipped with the metal faceplate that has a little metal ring that you have to kind of pinch to get off. My experience with that is when it comes time to put everything back together and you have potentially grease and oil on your hands and you're having to pinch that little metal ring back together and insert it to get the faceplate to sit flush. I suck at that. I mean, it's just, I quickly lose my patience. It doesn't go end well, and I start questioning, do I want to continue messing around with that, or do I just want to spend another $15, $20 and get a new set of bearings? Probably not the right way to go about it, but it's just a part of my character when it comes to wheel maintenance. So today, I'm going to make sure that that is not what I practice. So let's get to it. Let's get the face shields off of those bearings. So weapon of choice, hopefully not literally because I'm not in the mood to kind of cut my fingers today, but your basic safety pin, and I also have a little knife on handy dandy pocket knife. So usually somewhere between these two, I'm usually able to get enough of a leverage point underneath that shield to pop it out. So let's get to it. And you can see, even with the safety pin, it really didn't take a whole lot of effort to get that first one out. And there it is, outside of our bearing casing. And now I'm going to leave it in this state. I'm not going to go too hard in the paint. I'm not going to scoop out every one of those ball bearings. I'm just going to leave it as is. The bearings themselves weren't a total waste. I think this should be sufficient, given the condition of these bearings, for the solution to get in there and kind of do its thing and clean around. I know there are folks out there that are absolute, I won't say purists, but maybe more so type A personalities, where they want to go the full realm, and they'll take out each individual ball bearing and they'll scrub down each individual ball bearing. For me, that's not what I'm going to be doing today. So for you folks at home, if that's the route that you want to go to, or go down rather, have at it. More power to you. No shame in the game. But let's proceed forward. All right. So I have all those shields off of the bearings that I have in front of me so far. Totally spaced. I probably need to get my last set of bearings out that I have still installed on the wheel. So here we go with our bearing press. So really what you want to do, if you have this tool and you want to utilize it to get your bearings out, you want to extend the lever back so that this nodule is extended out towards the end. And then literally you're just going to put your wheel on here and you're going to leverage it. It has this little hook almost. So you want to get that kind of in the bearing so that as you pull the wheel backwards and you kind of rotate it around, you'll start to see the bearing, and you can hear it pop out of the core of the wheel. And there we go, right? Nothing to it but to do it. And then for the other one I still have in there, I could just push out with my thumb, but you know, for demonstration purposes, we'll just go ahead and use that hook apparatus at the end of the bearing press. I'm just going to keep rolling, and there we go. All right. All the bearings outside of our final dirt box wheel. And I'll just get the face shield off these real quick, and then we'll be ready to proceed forward. So I've got my bearings, face shields are off. I'll probably actually put the face shields in here as well, just give them a good rinse. But I'm literally just going to drop each one of these in, lifting this up because I don't want the degreaser to go splashing all over my little tabletop that I have here. And I'm just going to dump these in here for good measure. And actually, I might want to put my axle spacers in there as well. Let me go grab those real quick. Now I'm going to put the lid on. Make sure it's firmly secured because I don't want to start shaking this and I don't want the cleaner to go everywhere, but even if I do, it's orange cleaner. All right, shake weight time. And I guess one other helpful thing to point out, this little rinse station, it does accommodate up to 16 bearings at once. So literally a flat setup worth of bearings, you could clean all of your bearings that you would have for a single skate setup at once, for what it's worth. So I think I've got these pretty loosened up. The other recommendation is to let these soak up to 10 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and let this sit, since I've done a decent job of agitating the bearings inside of the degreaser. So while this sits, I'm going to go grab a paper towel and make sure that I give the core a good once over of the wheels as well, because I think it'd be kind of silly to get a lot of the dirt and grime that might be in the bearings out, only to slap them back into these used wheels for dirt and grime to just fall back into the bearing. It's been about 10 minutes. Let's go ahead and pull our bearings back out, because the next step that we're going to do in our process is let the bearings dry before we re-grease them, put the shields back on, and then put them back into our wheels. And my solution itself looking a bit murkier, so I clearly got something out of the bearings. And me being slightly impatient, aside from my plastic face shields, I may actually take a heat gun to the bearings to see if I can't expedite the drying process just a little bit. Never tried it before. I don't think it should hurt anything. It's just metal. As it cools, it should come back down to its normal shape, but it still sounds off the initial go to be, it sounds a little rattly, but I think it's just because of the positioning of the ball bearings. But let's let them dry and we'll re-grease it, and then kind of start forming some conclusions on the success of this work. Now that I've let the bearings dry and kind of assisted them a little bit with the heat gun, I'm just going to wipe down the front facing side of the bearing just to get some more of that additional remnants, whatever dirt and grime might be there. Couldn't hurt. And this is just me giving a quick once over with the paper towels. Now, I didn't spend a whole lot of time with the heat gun on these, obviously. I'm not wanting these to get too hot to the point where I can't then handle them. So these really aren't too bad. I really didn't use the heat gun for that long. Just long enough. Obviously, if you do decide to use the heat gun, be careful. I mean, the front of those things get really hot, go figure, heat gun hot. But then applying that type of heat to metal surfaces, you don't want to burn your hands just trying to support a hobby that you enjoy. No one wants to get hurt. And lastly, quick once over of the face shields. Now I'm also just kind of dabbing with the paper towel. I don't want to go rubbing back and forth where any of the paper fibers then get stuck to the face shield, which I then inject back into the ball bearings. That would kind of defeat the purpose of this exercise. So this is light dabs, just getting off any small potential particulates that might still be lodged in there, post them soaking in our cleaning solution. Okay, now it's time to add our speed cream back into our bearings. And typically when I do this, I just I tend to put a drop, usually about 4 to 5 range. If you think of it as the face of a clock, probably somewhere around the realm of 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and then maybe a dab in between those points, maybe. Now I'm going to start repositioning the ball bearings on the inside so I can put my face shields back on. And to do that, I'm just going to use my safety pin or pocket knife again to just slightly space out the ball bearings. Oily fingers, but all of our face shields have been installed back into our bearings, and I'm just going to spin around a couple times to help that speed cream kind of spread around on the inside. But as you can see, as I'm doing this, I don't hear any grit. It feels pretty good in my hand. And of course, if I really wanted to, I could have removed all of the ball bearings. I could have scrubbed those down. I could have really gotten in there and scrubbed the bearing casing underneath where the ball bearings sit. But the state of these things, the movement was already okay to begin with, so I wasn't going to exert that level of effort on this project. So next, I'm going to go ahead and put our bearings back into our wheels, and that should wrap it up. So once again, I'm going to go ahead and use my handy dandy bearing press. So on the front, you've got this little arm that kind of swings into place. I'm just going to hold that up. I'm going to put one of the bearings with the face shield facing down, followed by one of my spacers. I'm going to put my wheel on there, and I'm going to put another bearing with the face shield facing up. I'm going to kind of align that a little bit, and then I'm going to pivot that down. And now normally you would have this bolted or to the table surface or whatnot, but with me just kind of doing this in my lap, I'm not going to really worry about that, but you kind of get in gist of what's about to happen. I'm just going to then move this lever forward, and voila, bearing back in the wheel. There we have it. All the bearings back in our wheels. How are our wheels doing? It's pretty good. I'd be happy with that. I think that's definitely going to allow me to keep on rolling. All right. So another project completed. Luckily, this one actually independent of boot size, something that we can all visit on should you buy something used in a deal. Yet again, it comes with some wheels that maybe haven't been used in quite some time. Just doing a little project like this to rejuvenate the overall roll experience is never a bad thing. But more or less, nothing too complicated by any means. Just getting some orange cleaning solution, and then a lubricant to replicate what was taken off. But other than that, that's it. That's a wrap. Thanks for checking in, everyone.